Hello guys and welcome to this second episode of From the Beginning. So in the previous video we talked about movement, right? And if you haven't seen the video, I'm gonna link it there or somewhere. You're gonna see the pop-up coming. So in this new video we are gonna talk about weapons instead, which is the second factor in improving at ARENA FPS. So after you understand how to move, it's really important to understand how weapon works and how important it is to switch to the right weapon, okay? So first thing I will suggest you to do is going to your settings, controls. Alright, so this tab is about your keyboard, alright? So every letter on your keyboard has a meaning, and in every letter you have bind something else. So for example, this is the movement, W, E, A, D, and blah 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 blah, okay? Your crouch, your jump, okay? On this tab on the left, you have your weapons and ability, okay? So by default, Quake makes you bind your weapons from number 1 in the keyboard to number 8, alright? Why I don't think it's a good idea to just leave it like that is because when you are switching, unless you have the, like, I don't know, huge hands, like going from Gauntlet, for example, to Railgun, it's gonna take such a good effort, and you need to remember that you are also moving, okay? So you need to find better binds. For example, I use rocket on E, so by pressing WESD, I just have to just move a little bit with my index finger and press on the E, okay? Same with the LG, which I bind to R, and same with the railgun, which I bind to Q, okay? And ability is also bind to F, alright? So I have everything really close to my movement, and, you know? So when I'm moving, I can easily just put another finger and switch to another weapon, okay? And yeah, so I really suggest you to experiment a little bit with this and try to find what's best for you, okay? And so, yeah, as I did already the other time, so we need to go to a custom game, deathmatch, 110 minutes, whatever it is, and we're just gonna put a random bot just to test weapons, alright? Okay, I'm always gonna switch to Ranger, and meanwhile the game is gonna find a game. I wanted to thank you for all the support for the previous video. I got a lot of comments, a lot of people that were really happy about the video and that they are improving and that they didn't know about some stuff, you know. And that's the purpose of the video, so I'm really grateful for all the subscribers and comments below that video. And I hope this video can be as helpful as the other one. So, first thing you need to know about Quake is that you can choose different starting weapons. So, every time you spawn on the arena, unless you're playing Clan Arena or Unholy Trinity, you're gonna spawn with Gauntlet, which is the melee weapon, and you can pick between machine gun, nailgun, and shotgun, which are the starting weapons, okay? And you can do it by pressing A each on your keyboard when you are spawning. So you go there and you choose weapon. You see this? So you have the starting machine gun, the starting shotgun, and the starting nailgun. So the starting machine gun is the first weapon you're gonna talk about. So it's a really good weapon actually. It's one of the... It's probably the best starting weapon. It depends on the occasion. Like for example, the shotgun is really good if you have to refrag. But to do damage, I think the starting machine gun is probably the best weapon to pick with you. So when you are into a deathmatch, you just start with the starting machine gun and you can do a lot of damage already. So as you can see, the damage is 8. So every time you press fire button and you hit your enemy, you're doing 8 damage. So it's actually a really strong weapon for being a starting gun, you know? Okay. And you basically just use it to spam mostly. It can be really annoying because if the opponent, for example, has rocket, like in this case, and you are just shooting him, by just dodging, you can easily just do damage to him. And I think it's a really strong weapon to start with, okay? One thing to know, it has a bit of a spread, so sometimes even if your crosshair is on the enemy, maybe you're gonna miss some shots. So try to just be as accurate as you can be, okay? And yeah, so respawn again. Next weapon is gonna be the shotgun, the starting shotgun. So this is the starting shotgun. This is even the default skin, okay? So the starting shotgun is just a nerfed version of the shotgun, the normal one, but still can deal a lot of damage, and I'm actually gonna show you. 28, 64, 36. So it's just a shotgun, but for example, like let's say you're playing a duel, you died, but you know that the enemy received a lot of damage. So you're just gonna pick the starting shotgun, you push him, and he's dead already, okay? And this is just the starting shotgun, it's not even the normal shotgun. So it's a really powerful weapon to respawn with if you have done a lot of damage to your enemy. So I think between the shotgun and the machine gun, I don't have really a preference. I think it's more situational, I will say. So it depends on the occasion. So like players like Racy, for example, tend to use the starting shotgun more than the starting machine gun, but that also depends on the map and on the champions, okay? So next one, the starting nail gun. So this is probably the weapon, the less talked about weapon in the entire game, okay? As you can see, it's really fast the way it's shooting, and it's just a minor version of the nail gun, of course. So one thing to know about this weapon is that when you have the machine gun and the shotgun that are so strong as a starting weapon, picking the nail gun is not easy, because it's really hard to find. Oh my god, I picked up the other nail gun by mistake. So it's really hard to actually understand when to use it. The damage is pretty good because it's 12, but it's a prediction weapon. So if the enemy is dodging, never mind. If the enemy is dodging, it may not register, okay? Instead, the machine gun, if you're aiming at your opponent, is gonna register if you're hitting enough. Instead, this is going just one direction, so it's more of a spam weapon compared to a like accuracy weapon, you know? Because even if I'm shooting at the target, just maybe it's not gonna hit every single tick of the projectile I'm shooting, okay? So it's really important to understand that this weapon is mainly for spamming, I think. Like if you want to spam an angle, it's really strong because it deals like, you know that the enemy is coming from Mega. If you spam, you can trap him with a lot of damage. But like, if you're trying to just do damage like this, it can be really tricky sometimes. That's why the damage is 20 and not like machine gun is 8, for example. But machine gun is more consistent, okay? So that's really important to understand about the nail gun. Even starting nail gun or nail gun doesn't really make a big difference, okay? And one more thing about the nail gun is that you can make some cool jumps. Like you can boost yourself up like this. That's more advanced. Maybe I will make another video about this, but you can boost your 8 and speed by nail jumping. Like for example, even this. Alright. You can go all the way to rail just with the nail gun. Okay. This is a bit more advanced. Don't really worry about it for now. It's even easy, but it just requires some time to actually improve also the strafe jump first. Alright. So now that we are done with the starting weapons, let's go to the main first weapon, which is the gauntlet, the famous gauntlet. So the gauntlet, it's a weapon that you barely use. I think the gauntlet can be really good if you, for example, you know you're gonna die. Like you're around the corner, you know you're gonna die, and if you want to deal the best damage you can, and you, for example, have only machine gun, and you know that the machine gun can be at the max, you can do like 8 damage. Instead, if you try to bait a little bit, you can go and do 75, for example, which is much more like your possibilities in that moment. So you're just trying to get the best out of the situation and try to do as much damage as you can. So unlike other games where if you equip your melee weapon, you go faster, in Quake it doesn't matter. So if you have nail gun or gauntlet or LG or rocket, the speed is the same if you're strafe jumping, alright? It doesn't really make a difference. And yeah, that's it. Thing to know, the gauntlet also make a noise, so remind yourself about this thing. And yeah, maybe you can troll your enemies with the gauntlet. I think it's more of a troll weapon actually, but
are you even trying?
As you can see, it's even quick, but it's just a weapon that you need to put yourself into your hands like rarely. Doesn't really. It's really rare to use the gauntlet in a situation where you are fighting, you know. Unless, like for example, jump pads can be a good example, because when you are going up on the jump pad, you're going into the face of your enemy, so it can be a situation where you can use it. But more than that, it's a bit tricky. But it's a nice weapon, nice good looking weapon. The second one, we're gonna talk about the normal machine gun, not the starting machine gun, but the heavy machine gun, which is this one. So how do you notice the machine gun? First of all, it deals 10 damage, okay? Not 8 anymore. But a thing about the heavy machine gun is that if you zoom in, so if you are zooming, look, it does 15 damage instead of 10. But the rate of fire is slower, of course. So this is the rate of fire when you are not zooming in. And this is 10 damage. You see? And this is the rate of fire when you are zooming in. I'm gonna show you again the difference. So this is the rate of fire when you are not zooming. This is zooming. Okay, so you are thinking, well, what's the best weapon? Like, what's the best way to use it? Unzoomed or zoomed? It really depends. Also, because when you're zooming in, your sensitivity can differ a little bit. Because when you're zooming, you have a new FOV basically in that moment. Like my FOV right now, it's 89. And my sensitivity, it's adapting to that. But it can be a little bit slower. Look. Okay? So it really depends. I think if you're from a really far away distance, it's really good to zoom in. But if you're from close range, I will prefer the rate of fire, the better rate of fire, so faster weapon, okay? That's really personal. I will suggest you to experiment a little bit, what you think it's more accurate for you. For example, I think I'm better with unzoomed than zoomed in, just because I feel my sensitivity, it's better when I'm playing on the normal FOV. And that's mainly it. That's the damage you do with the machine gun, and I think it's probably one of the strongest weapons in the game. It's probably the 4th strongest weapon in the game right now. And okay, I need to not die. Somehow I forgot to put 10 minutes. So yeah, the thing is about this. The thing is that the machine gun sometimes can even do more damage than a railgun if you are missing a lot of your shots, you know. So always be careful. If you see someone using a machine gun, don't underestimate him, because he can deal a lot of damage. Just saying that. Alright? Now, the other weapon is gonna be the shotgun, okay? So the shotgun, as I said again for the starting shotgun, this is just a more powerful version of the shotgun. And oh, by the way, if you don't know how to start, like if you ever starting machine gun or starting shotgun, the way to pick up the more advanced weapon is just to walk over the normal shotgun. You're gonna equip yourself with the better version, okay? So the normal shotgun, I think it's really powerful. It can deal, like as you saw, almost 120 damage just by a blast. It really depends on how accurate you are, because the spread of the weapon is really large, as you can see. The more far away you are, the more the bullets are gonna spray everywhere. So if you are there to there, look how huge is the thingy. But if you get closer, look how smaller it gets. Just in any other game, the shotgun is really similar to any other game you play, basically. Like the more far away you are, of course, the less damage you're gonna do. The more close you are to the enemy, the more damage you're gonna do. Okay? And when you do the maximum damage, it's called point blank in Quake Champions. So that's basically it. Look, 108 right there, okay? That was close medium distance. Alright, so really simple. So I already showed you the nailgun. It's a nailgun and starting nailgun are quite similar. And the only difference is the damage. So always try to pick up the normal nailgun, because it's I think it's more powerful, of course. Okay. This is just a skin, because the normal nailgun would like just throw nails instead. But this is a skin that you can buy from the store in game if you want to. You are not forced to do it, but just pointing it out, okay? The other weapon is a new weapon for all the Quakers, I think. Because in other Quakes like Quake Live you will have the grenade launcher, but in Quake Champions you have the TRIBOLT. So as the word already says, TRIBOLT, okay? So it shoots 3 times, and it's a really tricky weapon to use. Because it has a really high knockback, so it's like similar, if not to the rocket launcher, but you need to be perfect when you're hitting the TRIBOLT, okay? And as the same as the nailgun, you use the TRIBOLT mainly to spam, okay? So if you want to spam a little bit, if you know the enemy is coming from there or from there, you spam, okay? And the damage differs, depends on like how close it is to the opponent when you're shooting. So it can be like really low, or it can be a lot of damage, right? The maximum damage you can do, let me see if I can show you on the target. It's 35. So the maximum damage, every bolt can be 35. It depends on how close you're hitting the enemy. So the maximum damage you can do with a full 3 blast, it's 105, okay? It's really tricky to do full damage with the weapon, so it really depends on the distance. It's usually used from a medium distance or longer distance, like there, from there to there. If you want to spam an angle like this, for example. It's barely used in close combat, unless you only have that weapon. Like there is no point in using it in close combat. And even medium combat, already the shaft, for example, is much stronger. Or even like the machine gun or the shotgun, okay? Other weapon, we're starting to go into the Unholy Trinity. If you don't know what the Unholy Trinity is, it's shotgun, and it's a rocket, lightning gun, and railgun, okay? So, the rocket, it's a really fantastic weapon in my opinion. It's one of the most funny weapons to use. It's really, really, really strong. And it can serve you in many different ways. So, that's a rocket, okay? You can shoot only one time every like second or something like that. Even if you press fire, it's gonna shoot slowly, one, instead of the TRIBOLT where you do. Okay? And basically the rocket is weapons that does area damage, so it can do splash damage also. So it doesn't only hit like 100 only, you can do also 20, you can do 50, depends on how close the rocket is when your enemy is around. I'm gonna show you real quick. Where is my scale bearer? Okay, look at him. This is a 92, okay? It's almost a direct hit, but it's still not a direct, okay? Oh, yes, the quad. I don't want to die. This is a 13. So it depends on how close the rocket is to your enemy. The more it differs into the damage, okay? Into the splash damage. You see, this is 84. Okay, so we did already 92, 84, 13. So it can vary. It can be really like a huge difference if your shot is really far away. Even when you are doing self-damage, if you shoot a rocket there, you're doing nothing. But if you shoot it under your legs, you're taking more damage, okay? And the rocket can be really helpful in many situations. it can be helpful in spamming. It's really good in close combat, like this. It's really good also medium. It's not good on long distance, but you can use it to spam a little bit, like if you know teleporter entrances and so on. Alright? So yeah, of course you can use also the rocket to rocket jump, but that's a more advanced for beginners, and yeah, you can use it to rocket jump and to do nice tricks, especially if you're playing ranger, okay? So yeah, that's it. It's a really strong weapon. For example, if the enemy is using the shaft and you manage to get a good first rocket, the enemy is gonna bounce in the air like this, okay? So when you're in the air, aiming it becomes much harder, okay? So if you're aiming with the rockets, it's easy to do combos like this, okay? Just pin your enemy in the air with the splash and then finish him off, alright? I think it's one of the most cool weapons to use and to master, and it's can be really rewarding if you learn how to predict properly. Because of course, since it's not a direct hit like the machine gun or the shaft, okay? When you're firing, it needs to go all the way to the other side, okay? So it can be like you can miss or you can hit. It really depends on the prediction. So it's mainly a prediction weapon, okay? Because if you're aiming there, it's not gonna go like light speed. It's gonna take some time to register and to go to that way. So it's more a prediction. So if your enemy is moving like this, if you're aiming there and your enemy is there, by the time your rockets is gonna land there, maybe it's already there. So it requires some practice to understand the movement and dodge from the enemy, and to properly like do damage, right? Let's go over to the shaft. Okay, the shaft is this weapon. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about it. It's called the lightning gun or shaft, okay? And this is its gun weapon, okay? It's a weapon that if you are targeting your enemy and you are shooting, you're doing damage no matter what. It's not like a rocket that needs to go all the way there, okay? So every time my crosshair is aiming at him, I'm doing damage, alright? The only thing with the shaft is that it has not an unlimited range. So if I'm aiming, for example, there, and if the opponent is there, my shaft won't reach him, okay? Look. Wait, I need to show you properly. You know? You see it's not reaching him, okay? I'm gonna try to show you better. I don't want to die because I might restart the map, so I'm just trying to survive. Okay, look. So there is shooting at him, but the more far away I get, look, I'm not doing damage anymore. So it has a medium range. That's why the shaft is probably the best medium range weapon you can get inside Quake. With the rocket probably. So it's really important to understand how to use it and when to use it. Because if you are there and the enemy is up there on the wall, your LG won't reach you. Like your LG won't reach that guy there. Look. So on this case, it will be better to use a railgun or a machine gun, you know. So yeah, the damage of the shaft, it's 6 every tick. I'll try to show you again. Okay, he has protection right now, so it's gonna do less damage. So I'm just gonna wait for him to finish the protection. Sorry, just because I want to show you the damage. So I just put a bot to let you show how it works. Okay, let's go for him. Okay, it's 6 damage, alright? Okay, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So it's a weapon that can deal a lot of damage, alright? And to improve this weapon accuracy, you need to practice your tracking. Because tracking basically is like the way you track your opponent with the crosshair. So the more accurate you are on the tracking, the more damage you're gonna do, alright? Perfect. And yeah, it's really important because this is probably the best weapon in the game. If you master this weapon, you're just gonna be amazing, okay? And yeah, that's it. So remember that also the shaft has a knockback. So for example, is that if the enemy is going up a jump pad, you can knock him like above, like in the air, because it has a really high knockback. Knockback means how much far away you are pushing the enemy from you. So if you are up there and someone is pushing you, you're gonna fly there basically. So it's usually what happens with ring outs. If the enemy is like taking a jump pad and you just shaft him up, you're just gonna see him flying around basically and going out of the map. Alright? And yeah, that's it. So medium range and close range can be already tricky because you have rockets. So in that case you need to understand what to use, and always try to think about your ammo on the right, because it doesn't last that much. Okay, so when you hear this sound like it means that the shaft is the ammo is finishing, so you need to go pick it up again. And every time you pick up the shaft, it's gonna give you 100 ammo, same as other weapons. And every time you are full ammo, it's gonna give you only 10. Okay. Last weapon, but not least important, is the railgun. Okay, so the railgun is a really important weapon. It's a weapon that was implemented in the other Quakes. I don't think it was present in Quake 1. And it's basically this beam that shoots only once. And it does 90 damage, okay? So this is me firing the the railgun always. One shot. Okay. So it has a reload time, alright? One thing to know, okay, really important. If you are aiming with the railgun and you shoot and then you want to switch weapon, it's gonna require more time, because it has to finish the animation of the railgun, and then when you press the other weapon, it's gonna take some time. So for example, look, this is the normal switch from railgun to rocket, for example. This is the switch, okay? So it's like how much it is. Let me look into it. So let's do it at 0. It's not even 1 second. But if you fire first and then you switch to rocket, look, it's much faster. I mean, it's much slower. So you need to be careful when you're shooting, and you're like, if you're close range and you shoot and you want to switch to rocket, the enemy is already in your face by that case. So always try to think what's the best for you and what weapons to use. So yeah, the railgun is really fun weapon to use, and it really requires a lot of precision and accuracy. It's probably the most important weapon with accuracy. Like, tracking is really good. This is clicking, so you need to understand when to click and fire your shot, okay? So I was saying there are different ways of aiming with the railgun. You have the tracking version, which is like something that you will see from Toxic. Like Toxic, instead of like flicking, he uses to track with the railgun, okay? So it tries to track you and aim with the railgun, okay? While some other players, like even me, I tend to flick a bit more. So like, for example, if my enemy is there, I try to flick a bit. Instead, tracking can be a bit more easy. Depends, like you're tracking, and when you feel you're sure you're gonna hit the enemy, you shoot, okay? Instead of flicking is more of like muscle memory, okay? Like this miss, for example, okay? So you're flicking right now. But it really depends on you, how you feel. I think it's both of them. Like you can also do waiting railgun. Like if you know it's coming from such a direction, you know, you just wait, and then when it crosses over your crosshair, you just fire, okay? And okay. So yeah, then it just depends on you. I can give you a suggestion on how to use the gun, but at the end of the day, you are the one making decisions. So tracking or just using it as a waiting weapon for angles and stuff like this, it really depends on you and how you use them, okay? Yeah, so these were the weapons. I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave a thumb up and Sorry if my voice is a bit weird, but I have a bit of throat pain. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and the content, and as always, and I'm gonna give you below the link for the previous video. And if you want to see more, comment please down below that you want to see more videos, so I can I see that people are interested and I can make some new content for you. Okay, so enjoy the rest of the day or night, and have fun. See you around.